Well, I think we could have predicted the reshuffle was going to happen, because reshuffles tend to happen when a party leader or a Prime Minister is facing internal party challenge, is facing electoral meltdown, or is facing their personal popularity stakes at a lower level than their parties. And I think the internal DUP review that seems to have been going on would suggest that the party sees Peter Robinson's popularity ratings as lower than the party's, hence the reshuffle. And to come out afterwards and use the type of language that we're kind of used to now from the First Minister, where he used ungracious words like lemmings and so on about ministers that he saw fit to hold office for very important portfolios, shows that he knows himself he's in a bit of a crisis.
Newton, do you think he's seen off the rebels?
Well, I think that it was a very clever piece of party management, the reshuffle itself, but he's completely undone it with his performance today on television. I genuinely believe that a long-term threat to Peter Robinson's leadership is that there's nobody left who can say to him, don't say that. He's surrounded himself, apparently, with terrified yes-men who won't prevent him making these ridiculous media performances. He's done himself more damage today than Poots ever could have.
Why do you say that? Why has he done himself more damage? Why has he not actually righted the ship?
Well, because this performance on television is what the public will see. They're not going to notice the minutiae of the infighting and faction fighting within the DUP. They're going to see our First Minister and leader of our largest party behaving, frankly, like a bit of an idiot. And that's very, very damaging politically.
And the tweets as well did not help. That proliferation of tweets today kind of, for people, will suggest the lady doth protest too much.
Entirely coincidental, we've been told by the press office and the DUP. That was not organised or coordinated in any way.
That's just not believable, especially as the DUP's official Twitter account was putting out tweets for MLAs who didn't have their own Twitter account. It was clearly orchestrated.
So, Cathy, what happens next? I mean, it's difficult to know quite how Peter Robinson handles this. I mean, clearly he moved to try to quell the dissent. Simon Hamilton, was endeavouring to put up a stout defence of the party leader and say, well, maybe people have learned their lesson and we are one happy family and it wasn't a good thing that happened, but it's in the past. Now, that's either going to turn out to be the case or the rumblings are going to continue.
Well, the conversations about when Peter would go have long preceded this, and there's always a crisis of legitimacy when you talk about any party leader's successor or potential successors, or even begin to question when they might leave office. That long predated what has happened over the last few days and will continue again beyond this, because I don't think that this has stopped it at all. But what's most interesting is that there's two parallel universes here. The conversation tonight was about he'll be here for the next election, he'll be here for the Assembly election and the general election, in complete isolation of the fact that we have a commission on constitutional reform about to be established and what devolved powers the different regions might have, which will throw everything up in the air. And those two things are actually moving past each other and not being considered at the same time.
That is likely to make the party under pressure coalesce around its leader. Ultimately, there is no alternative candidate who can hold the DUP together.
Well, that's a very interesting point, because I spoke to a senior member of the DUP recently who said there is no great love for Peter Robinson in the party, but people respect that he's the best man for the job at the moment because he's a good strategic thinker and he is a good decision maker, and that's what we need.
But I would dispute that.
Well, I'm just saying what the person said.
Yeah, but the evidence...
If they believe that, then that is what matters inside the party.
Because the evidence would show that, strategic leadership does not equate to knee-jerk reactions and statements to the press that uses unparliamentary language like lemmings of former ministers.
You're the economist amongst us. Let's talk about the failure to agree the budget. How serious is the situation that the executive finds itself in at the moment?
Well, it is very serious politically, but financially, to put it in context, the paper that Simon Hamilton was talking about that he presented to the executive last Thursday revealed that Stormont is still getting more money this year than was planned when its budget was set up 3 years ago. There have hardly been any cuts. There's been mismanagement all around. Of course, that's exacerbated, but this is a problem they've all caused and they do all need to sit down and work it out.